Greetings, my spooky crafty friends. Tonight we're going to be making a spooky wall sconce. This project is part of Folloween, a spooky collaboration hosted by the Secret Craft Room and Shabby Meets Bling. Be sure to check out the video description to see all the other amazing projects. So to start out, I am using this spooky hand that I found at Goodwill. Really, any lightweight plastic hand will work for this project. I'm starting out by painting it with a matte gray paint. And one thing that I thought was interesting with this paint, and a reason why you always want to test out your paints before you use them on your project, is that it significantly changes color when it dries. Do you see how light gray it looks there? Here's what it looks like when it's dried. It's more of a concrete color, which is actually perfect. That's what I wanted. So I have painted both sides with that flat gray paint, and then I'm going in with a black paint to do the nails. I briefly thought about adding some fake nails, but I decided I didn't want claws on this. I wanted it to be more like an undead hand. So black nails it was. Once those are completed, I went in with the black paint once again and highlighted the lines that were already in the plastic. I know it's a little over the top and dramatic right now. It's okay. We're going to be addressing that later. Think of this kind of like, when you watch those TikTok makeup tutorials and they start doing the contouring lines and you're like, whoa, that looks really bad. But then they blend and add all these layers and then look like a supermodel by the end of the video. So that's what we're doing with this hand, except this would be like an undead supermodel's hand. So I'm going in with a sea sponge. You could use a makeup sponge, kitchen sponge, anything that has a porous surface to sponge on blobs of black paint. And then you can even dry brush in some of the creases to highlight where shadows would be. Again, this is really messy looking. It's okay because we're going to be fixing that. So just go over all the skin. We want to add some black blotches in there, both on the inside, the outside. Make sure you go all the way up to the nail bed, because really an undead hand would just be kind of discolored looking, right? And right now it's just that flat gray color. So this is how we fix it. Once I'm done blotching it up, I'm going back to that matte gray paint that I originally used, and I'm using that same sea sponge to sponge on that gray color. This is going to help blend in the black. It's going to decrease the harsh look of those lines that we painted. And if I find spots where, I missed adding some shadows, I'm going to go back in. I'm using one end of the sponge with black paint and then the other one with gray. So just go in and keep adding in shadows and then the lighter color to create contours and blotches and bruisey looking skin, because that's what I imagine an undead hand would look like. For the next part of this project, we're grabbing a glass mason jar and some milk glass paint, and I'm using a foam pouncer to just sponge that white color all over the jar. I want to hide the lights that I'm going to be putting in there, and then this will also help me give the glass an aged look. By pouncing it on, the paint's just going to be kind of splotchy looking when it dries, and this way it looks like an old glass jar. I'm going to repeat this on all the sides. I'm not worrying about the neck of the bottle because that will be covered up by the rope that I'm using to hang up on my creepy light. And so I'll just continue like this, cover up the bottom, and then leave it to dry before moving on to the next step. using black Murano glass paint from Plaid Crafts. Make sure you're grabbing the transparent one. The opaque will be too dark. I just want to age up this glass a little bit more. That milk paint in white is obviously very bright, too bright for a Halloween project. So now I'm going back over it with transparent black paint and again sponging it on and see what a difference that makes. So the white milk glass paint helped hide the contents of the jar, and then now this black transparent glass paint is giving it an aged appearance. I'll add a little bit more near the base just to make it look a little smokier, darker, and create some contrast. Now to put it all together, I am using a sconce that I found at a thrift store. You could even just use a wood plaque to hang this up. I just thought this would be really cool for this project. I have added a screw to the top since my hand does have a little opening there, and that's going to give it a little more support when it's hanging. And then I'm also adding some hot glue just because, you can never have too much glue, especially when something's going to be hanging on the wall and potentially getting bumped into. So add that there and wait for it to dry. So now to put it all together, I have tied some twine to the top of my mason jar. I also used a little bit of hot glue to hold that in place. And I'm going to twist it up around the hand and then secure it again by tying a knot and then adding some more hot glue. Then it's just a matter of twisting up to hide the opening of that mason jar and using bits of hot glue to hold it all together. To finish it all off, I am using this creepy cloth from Dollar Tree. I love this stuff. I always stock up on it every Halloween because you can just use it in so many different ways for so many different projects. So I am wrapping it around the hand and then hanging it over and around the mason jar to, kind of create the effect of like long, creepy sleeves hanging down from the wall as this spooky undead hand pokes out, holding a helpful light for all visitors who pass through in the night. Just added some fairy lights and hung it up, and it was done. Pretty spooky, huh? Be sure to check out the video description to see all the other amazing Halloween projects, and thanks for watching. Ciao!